Alright. Hello, everyone. I'm Lonnie.
I'm religious.
There we go. Okay. We're on Untitled Network. This is the second episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier. The Star Spangled Man. You know, I'll go ahead and tell you that this new John Walker guy is a better Captain America than Steve Rogers ever was.
You're not gonna make me upset on
No.
camera. So shut up.
I mean, look.
You're just trying to get a rise out
No,
of me.
this.
Bullshit.
Really?
That's the whole
Really?
reason you
Really?
said that.
I don't believe that, but this episode does a pretty decent job of showing that this new Captain America is a pretty good guy.
That we know of.
Is
One episode does not establish that.
Fairly, if anybody, I mean, he's a good guy that has gotten caught. Is what I kind of called to begin with. He's gotten caught up in this political game, and I'm sure there's some other motives behind the scenes, but he's on the surface not a bad guy.
Okay, whatever.
I mean,
don't
you know that
what kind of guy he is. We are just now getting to know him.
well, yeah.
I mean, he did pretty much save Sam and Bucky's ass. But I don't know.
This had some really good action. Oh my god, the uncomfortable episode of racism in this episode.
I mean,
Was
it started out small last episode,
yeah.
and they really brought it to light this episode.
Yep.
So
Because Sam and Bucky were arguing in a, I guess a predominantly black neighborhood.
Predominantly black, poor neighborhood.
Yes, and like the damn police showed up quick and
I was like, "Hey,
immediately,
is this guy bothering you?" Blah 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 blah.
Yeah, immediately started pointing fingers at Sam.
It was like, "Do you know who this is?" Bucky's like, "You know who this is?" And he had nerve to say, "I did not recognize you without the goggles." Like, I didn't even know what to think about that. And then they take Bucky off because he missed his therapy appointment.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah.
They were, when they couldn't harass Sam because he was Falcon, they found a reason to take one of them to jail. Like they did. It's like, oh, you missed your therapy appointment. You've got to go. It was almost like you took up for him, so you're going to jail.
Yeah.
I mean, it really was. I don't know if it was intended that way, but that's the way I read that scene.
Mm-hmm.
Because they go to that neighborhood anyway to meet Isaiah. Turns out was a black super soldier back in the day.
That nobody knew about.
Yep.
Back in
no one knew about.
Back in the 1950s.
Mm-hmm. And he said that when they go see Isaiah, he's very upset because he doesn't want to talk about it because he ended up in jail for 30 years. And not just hanging out in jail, like they were doing tests and shit on him.
Which is probably how they ended up getting these super soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
They probably figured out a way to replicate it.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Zero.
Zero's over here playing with the Mewtwo plush.
Sorry.
So that was the big thing. The episode, like they end up like really having, like they literally go to therapy. They go to Bucky's.
Yeah, the therapist, shows up because, Bucky's in jail. And Sam thinks that she got him out of jail when really it was the other Captain America.
John Walker.
Yes, John Walker.
The Star Spangled Man.
He bailed him out as a gesture of goodwill. But then, of course, that ends with, we're not working with you because we're free agents and you got to do this and that. And then, of course, he was like, well, just stay out of my way then. I was like, okay, y'all.
I mean...
But the therapy session was great, though. To go back to that.
I get they knew Captain America's reasoning because he tried. He tried to do all these, tried to, got him out of jail, tried to help, has tried to help him a couple of times in battle, and they just don't want to hear it because he has Steve's shield, and
Right,
they just,
and they feel like that's not where it belongs. It
yeah.
belongs to Steve. I mean, they got a lot of sentimental value attached to that shield. I mean, you got to understand where they're coming from.
I feel like
You know?
I feel like they need a place to aim their frustrations, and they're aiming it at John. Like, don't blame him.
Well, I don't-
Blame the people that put him there. And because I don't see anything really bad about the guy thus far. And I mean, yeah, chances are he's probably going to end up being some big traitor, a sleeper Hydra agent or something. But right now, on the surface, there's literally no reason to hate the guy.
It's not even a hate thing, though. It's just, it's a lot for them to process.
Yeah.
And
I get it, but I just think it's unnecessary. I think they're going to end up really screwing up because of their ill will towards this guy. It's going to end up causing somebody to get hurt or killed. And then everybody's going to have to come together. And the whole thing with the Avengers was the Avengers were a group of loners that didn't work well with others, except for Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's because he was in military prior to that.
Yeah, and they all had to put their differences aside and come together for the greater good. And I think that's probably going to be the moral of the story in this one.
Probably.
They end the episode by going to talk to Baron Zemo, which is going to be something else. He was the big villain of Civil War. He's basically Baron Zemo is the reason Thanos won when you look at it, because if the Avengers would have still been together and working everything out, I think they probably could have taken Thanos, but they were all split up and fighting still.
I mean, that's true.
And
that's a possibility. I'll give you that.
Yeah, I mean, what the movie Civil War did was it made the Avengers vulnerable.
It did.
It tore them down to where they could be beat in Infinity War.
Yeah.
Nope. He just knocked my
Controller down.
off. The controller that I had insured for active cat, and that's a very good reason right there.
Yeah.
Don't even look over here. Nope.
I
just
said
just turn around.
Look over there. Anyway.
Oh, so that's pretty much the episode in a nutshell. I personally thought this was a better episode. We also got to see that, I'm assuming, the big reveal was that these individuals who are going around with this like New World Order stuff are actually super soldiers.
Yeah, they're a bunch of super soldiers.
And so now we've got to figure out what's up.
Civilians are helping them because I understand why. Because
it is...
Can I finish my sentence, please? Thanks. Anyway, I understand why, because, the blip did take out some people that did not have other people's best interest in mind. They were out for themselves, and when they returned everybody, these people returned, and now they're more suppressed than ever.
So there were a lot of people...
Because they referred to these people as Robin Hood.
There were a lot of people that disappeared, that when they disappeared, it made the world better off.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, you're exactly right. There were some people's lives that did get better.
It was almost like if the blip happened right now. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm probably going to regret this in the comments. But
probably.
If the blip happened right now, if the snap happened, half people disappeared, and let's say I don't know, 2/3 of Republicans in Congress disappeared, I would be like, all right. You know?
I know, but here's the
like
thing.
a glass half full
Here's the
situation.
glass half full. And then, like, that might work out in our favor and Democrats come in and yada, yada, yada. Or just more Republicans show up. Like
Worse
that,
ones.
Yeah.
Like freaking.
That really goes either way. But I'm sure with as many people that are helping these people, like, a lot of them had just better lives and they got lucky with it.
Well, what they're talking about is a lot of the issues that people are having. Okay, what you've got is you've got some people who... This is basically an analogy for like affirmative action in a nutshell. You've got people who disappeared. Half the world disappeared. And so you had these people who for 5 years had to do the hard work of keeping the world together for 5 years. And they saw no thanks or no payment for that.
True.
And then people come back after 5 years and suddenly the government is bending over backwards to give them housing and give them benefits and medical. And the people who have been here the whole time resented that.
Yeah.
And so
right.
it's like, I don't know, like the core basics of a lot of these, like even stuff like that happens in real life. It's always, even though the people who are getting it deserve it, you still have the people who don't deserve it but aren't getting it pissed off because they're not getting it too.
Right.
And that's it in a nutshell. Every time, it's like you could have people living in a cardboard box for 2 years be given a house, and then somebody who already has a house is going to be like, well, why don't I get a new house too? It's like, did you really need the fucking house? Yeah.
Right.
So that is the core, and it's a really good reflection on today's society because that kind of stuff is happening now, even though there's not like a supernatural snap behind it. And this episode, or this show in general, is doing more to address racism and just inequality and a lot of the political overtones of what's going on in the world.
And the fact that, like, these people were automatically, like, put back in their places in government, yet Sam couldn't get a loan.
Yeah.
Because he was gone for 5 years, but these people automatically went back into power.
Yep.
Really says a lot.
Yes. Very much. Whew. All right. Well, what do you give this episode?
I'm going to give it a 10. Wasn't 11.
Yeah.
It's definitely a 10, though. I loved seeing Bucky actually opening up during the therapy session and telling Sam, hey, this is how I feel.
That was a big step towards getting them to...
I hated that Sam wasn't very,
Well, Sam's got his own issues, too.
He does. He's got his own issues that he needs to, like, figure out as well. But, I mean, it's still made for a great scene.
It's like there is no reason these two guys can't get along, and
there's not.
They're just stubborn.
They're very stubborn, and they got so much on them.
Yep.
So much.
They're going to be a hell of a team when they finally...
Right. I can't wait till they finally work everything out, because they're going to be unstoppable.
Which will probably... What are there, 6 episodes to this series?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I think there's 6 episodes, and it's going to be funny because they'll probably end up becoming a team about 15 minutes before the end of the last episode.
Yeah, that'll be how it goes.
And then it'll be like, they'll return, and, and then they'll probably make like a big Avengers announcement or something.
Yeah.
So... I am kind of curious as to where they're going to end up because, like, WandaVision, those characters are going to appear in Doctor Strange, the new Doctor Strange movie.
Yes.
Loki is also going to venture into Doctor Strange. And...
Hell, they mentioned Doctor Strange earlier on here.
Yeah, and like heck, even
He's
like
a sorcerer, not a wizard. A wizard without a hat.
even the Star Wars shows, the Mandalorian, you know where those characters are going to be next, because they're going to have that like Book of Boba Fett series, and Mandalorian season 3 and stuff like that. But Falcon and Winter Soldier, like, where the hell are they going to go? There's nothing on the schedule right now that
Who knows?
that says, "Hey, Falcon
Maybe
and
they're
Winter."
just establishing them for something later.
Like, yeah, they don't even have another Avengers movie lined up. So, yet.
Maybe it's just a loose end they're tying up. I mean,
Yeah, like this almost feels like maybe it's more of a wrap up than a beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might not be the case.
Because, I mean, if they hadn't done this, we'd wondered the whole time about that damn shield.
Yeah.
Like we would have. So.
Yep. All right. Well, yeah, I'm going to give this one a 10 too. I was almost ready to like a 9, but all of the messages and stuff that it threw out.
Nah.
The stuff like that.
It was too intense of an episode.
Yeah.
On an emotional level. To not be a 10.
And it was definitely better in the first one. I think.
I mean.
Yeah.
I think they're both about the same.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's going to be it. I'm Lonnie.
I'm Amberlicious.
We are Untitled Nerd Network. We'll see y'all next week for another Falcon and Winter Soldier review.